What's doing, everybody? I'm Alec. Thank you for watching First Class Fatherhood. Today's guest on the podcast is Green Beret Medal of Honor recipient Matthew Williams. Matt received our nation's highest military award for his heroic actions during the Battle of Shok Valley in Afghanistan. I cannot tell you how honored I am to have him with me here today. So smack that subscribe button down below and let's jump into it right now with Green Beret Medal of Honor recipient Matt Williams. I'm Alec Lace, and you're listening to First Class Fatherhood. Joining me now, First Class Father Matt Williams. Welcome to First Class Fatherhood.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be here.
All right, let's start right here. How many kids do you have? How old?
So just one boy. He's 3. Before November. So it's been fun.
Awesome. Did you guys do like a gender reveal to find out you were having a boy, or did you wait to the end to find out?
We found out beforehand. We didn't do anything crazy. Just found out at the doctor's office, and we're happy with what we found out.
You going for the girl now, or are you guys all done?
I don't know. We talked about it. We haven't made the official decision. Kind of see how it goes, but he's Nolan, my son, he's a strong-willed 3-year-old, so he may need somebody to help kind of tame him. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, if you could, Matt, please just take a minute here to hit my listeners with a little bit about your background and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So Matt Williams, I'm a sergeant major, currently serving in the Army for 3rd Special Forces Group. I've been in the Army for 14 and a half, going on 15 years. Been with 3rd Special Forces Group most of my career. Done, 5 deployments to Afghanistan, 1 to Africa. Now I'm kind of filling a staff role. And been married for 10 years. And then, like I said, a father for 3 and a half, almost 4. That's about it.
Yeah, and Matt, thank you for your service. It's really an honor for me to have you here today. And so during your service here, then how old were you then about when you became a father, and how did becoming a dad kind of change your perspective on life?
Yeah, so I was 35, I believe, 35, 36. And it was a huge change. I was actually, I kind of had a break. I was instructing. I was at one of our advanced skills schools for special forces. So I had some time at home, which was good. And I've actually able to be home for the most part. I've done 1 deployment since we had Nolan. But overall, it changes changed my whole outlook on the way things are. Definitely reinforced putting family first. The career at that point was always the first things first, and willing to jump on whatever and do whatever's needed, which of course I still am, but I always have in the back of my head taking into account raising a young son and making sure I'm around for as much as I can be, knowing I still have quite a bit of time in the military, and there'll definitely be those times where I won't be able to be around. But it definitely is a huge eye opener. I'll say that. It's, you think you can prepare for it and all that, but there's no way.
Yeah, well said. I hear you on that. And one of the reasons why I love having so many of the dads from the military on is because I can't imagine having to do, like, you go on deployment and have to go so far away from your family and be away for such a long time. I work an overnight or a double at my job, and I feel like I'm being taken away from my family. So
Yeah.
It's amazing what you guys, what you do. And I love the videos that I see of the service members coming back to surprise their families when they come back from a deployment. I think they're the best videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so what has it been like for you? What is like, is it harder for you now? Like, what was it? You've done so many different deployments without being a dad. What was the major difference for you doing a deployment this time? I know only 1 so far while being a dad.
It's definitely tough. We have it easy now, to be honest, with our, technological capabilities, kind of reaching back home and, doing FaceTime or kind of at least seeing video of the kids, which helps a lot, but it's definitely tough, especially with a really young one watching over 5-6 months, the drastic changes that they're making and knowing that you're not there for it. It's definitely a harder thing to watch. And it's always kind of in the back of your mind. What are you missing out on? What's going on? Are there, what big milestones, are you missing? I've been fortunate in not having to really miss anything huge. I missed a Christmas, but he was still so young that it wasn't, that big of a deal. Those are the hardest parts, though. Definitely the guys the guys that have older kids, and I've seen them kind of miss, the birthdays and the Christmases and those kind of things constantly, and that's definitely the hardest part when you miss out on those special deals.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine that, Matt. And I know one thing too, like being like a civilian guy, like the first time I know you guys get that service before self mentality built into you guys in your military careers, but out
Right.
here, like as a civilian guy, the first time I ever got anything like that was becoming a dad for the first time, and it was like I kind of got that idea of wow, like there is somebody on this planet that I would sacrifice my life for. The first time we get that out here is from being a father, and obviously you are a Medal of Honor recipient. It's the highest award that could be received in the military. What was it like for you to be there to receive that award and to have your wife and your child present during the ceremony?
Yeah, it was still something I'm trying to wrap my head around, to be honest with you. So I was awarded in October for an action that took place in 2008. So it's something that happened, so long ago that it, literally fallen off the radar, and I'd moved on with my career and done my thing, and then, got all that kind of got re-energized fairly quickly. But having them, we actually didn't bring Nolan up for the whole ceremony since he was still a little too young for him to understand it, which is, something that it's unfortunate. We wrestled with it a lot, but having them there, was great. My wife being there for me. Luckily, we have the ability to kind of go back and watch the ceremony again, and we have all the pictures. And my son knows, that his dad met the president and got a medal and all that kind of stuff. He got to watch it on TV here, and is extremely excited about it. Hasn't obviously doesn't fully understand it, but he's still, every time he sees the president on TV, he's like, oh, it's President Trump. Dad, I met the president and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's awesome, and it's definitely added another layer of responsibility to live up to in his eyes, as well, which is I think going to continue to be interesting.
Yeah, I rewatched it again last night. I'm going to put a link in the description of today's podcast episode to the YouTube video of the ceremony. This way my listeners can check it out, see what we're talking about. And I know they have the book, No Way Out, about the incident that took place where you and so many of your brothers were awarded medals for the incident. Did you ever read the book? Did you have any thoughts on that?
Honestly, I have not read it. My wife's read it and family members have read it and everything. And that's something that kind of came together, and I was still right in the middle of my team time. We were, going everywhere. I think I did a couple deployments during the writing of the book, so I honestly didn't have much input on it. But I've heard it's good, and it's an accurate representation of kind of what happened that day. Since the book was written, there's actually two of us have been awarded Medal of Honor, Ron Shurer and myself, along with, like you mentioned, several other folks that got awarded Valorous Awards for it. So it was, it's hard to say and identify with it, but it's, it's, for what it's worth, I guess, a relatively historical battle from the war in Afghanistan. And, it's worth looking into and understanding what, the guys out there are doing and are willing to do for their country and for each other.
Yeah, the story of it is just incredible to read. I mean, the way that you guys were outnumbered and just the whole thing is just mind-boggling, the way that you guys are able to handle them type of situations. I'm blown away by it. But now, if they did option this thing for a movie, do you have anybody in mind in particular you'd want to play yourself or no?
It's funny, Ron and I actually, and several of the guys on the team, right when this all happened, used to joke about that all the time. That was 10 or so years ago. So I think our cast members have moved on, but we haven't. I don't know anymore, to be honest with you. It'd be hard to find somebody that looked like me 10 years ago, I think.
Well, you gotta go and throw a Chris Pratt in there or something like that. I gotta get an action guy in there.
I'm gonna look up all the young guys. I don't know anybody anymore.
Reining it back into you as a dad here, what are some of the top values that you're hoping to instill into your son?
Some of the biggest ones are things I learned from my dad. Honestly, was work ethic, loyalty, honesty, humility, I think all those things are extremely important to impart on the youth of today, specifically, your own children. So we're creating, a younger generation that knows what hard work is, know what it is to care about one another, know what it is to be honest and loyal, and humility. When in a time where I think everybody's looking for, I don't know, Instagram fame and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of detractors out there, and I think those things that really keep people grounded are important and really lead to a person of strong character that can kind of overcome obstacles and do great things.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I think we need to get more of your stories out there, just because it's important, the values that come from, just taking ownership and responsibility. I think right now we're in a world where everybody passes the buck along. It's not my fault, it's somebody else's. They always look for an excuse. And I think we need more of that mindset of taking the ownership for our actions. And you mentioned your own father there. I know Nolan is young yet, but what type of disciplinarian are you? A spanker, a timeout guy? Is it different? Is it different than the discipline style that you grew up with?
It's funny. Everybody's always mad at their dad till they have to become them. It's an ongoing, constant, learning process for my wife and I both. I'll say she's definitely probably a little more strict than I am right now. It's a 3-year-old boy. It's literally the funnest thing you could ever do. So, I'm not gonna lie to you. I give him some breaks probably when I shouldn't, but we're working through trying to find the best process that works. To be honest, like I said, he's stubborn and strong-willed. So timeouts I think have started to not work anymore for as far as we can tell. But the biggest thing we're trying to do is ensure that we teach him manners and teach him to be kind and be a good listener. All those things that at 3 that we can try to impart on him and work through it. I mean, I've been told the terrible 2s are, it's a myth, and it's really the 3s, and that's pretty much where we're at right now.
Yeah, it's definitely an on-the-job learning process for sure. And what about as far as your bedtime routine, Matt? Are you like a storyteller? You reading the books, a lullaby guy? How do you kind of handle that?
Yeah, so that's one thing that we've done from early on was we were very strict with scheduling, and because of that, he's awesome on schedule. So we have a preset regimen for the evening time. We do the bath time thing, play a little bit, and he likes to do what he calls moves, where he runs around and creates crazy dance moves, or I don't know what all. But then definitely do the book. We really make it a focus to continue to read to him, and constantly, and that's kind of what we do. And then every now and then it'll be rock with mom, depending on how he's feeling, and then we put him to bed. And he's been a great sleeper, and he's really good at his little routine and schedule, which we like a lot.
Yeah, good stuff. And what about, Matt, as far as advice for parents out there that have kids? I know we're coming up to, what would have been graduation time, but I mean, they're graduating from high school, and we have a lot of kids that will be joining the armed forces. What kind of advice do you have for parents out there that have kids that are about to enlist or about to sign up or about to join the military?
Yeah, I think from a parental perspective, I think that's probably a really tough thing to hear. I know it was for my mom. I finished college and then basically told my parents I was joining the military and going into the special forces. That's what I signed up to do. It's what I always kind of wanted to do. And my mom was, it's a mixed emotions. You're extremely proud, obviously, that you raised somebody that understands the value of service and has a willingness to serve their country. But in the back of your mind, you've always got that extra worry of, my son or daughter is about to put themselves in harm's way, and what are they going to face, and what's it going to be like? And they're going away, and am I going to be able to talk to them, see them, etc. But I guess the biggest piece of advice is, understand that, America's military is we're the best trained, best equipped, best armed force on the planet. And our job in the military is to take care of our soldiers, take care of our men and women, and ensure that they're extremely competent at their job, that they're ready to perform at the highest level. the value that they're going to get out of their service, is well worth their endeavor.
Yeah, great stuff, Matt. Yeah, and thank God, because we wouldn't stand a chance in this world without you guys. So it's awesome to hear that. What about what's next for you now? How much longer in your career do you have to go until you're going to be done? And what do you see yourself doing beyond? Any political aspirations, or what's going to be next for you?
So I've got at least 5 years until I hit the 20-year retirement mark. So I'm definitely looking forward to those, and I'm doing something that I love. I joined the Army in 2005, and I was going to do 5 years and get out and move on and try a federal law enforcement thing or something like that. That was kind of my goal, and I really fell in love with what I was doing. And at that point, I told myself as long as I enjoyed it, I was going to continue to do it, and I still have that mindset today. So I've at least got 5 more years, and I look forward to kind of moving up in leadership roles and taking care of the younger guys and training them and getting them ready to do what we need them to do. And after that, I honestly haven't quite put it all together yet, to be honest with you. Things have changed quite a bit for me over the past year, especially with the Medal of Honor and everything, and it's opened up a lot of opportunities, and I've seen, ways to help out in other ways and give back. The Medal of Honor and the Medal of Honor Society puts a lot of focus on the youth and does a lot with schools and kids, and I've really started to enjoy the little bit of that I've gotten to do. So we'll see. I honestly haven't thought about it.
Yeah, it makes sense, Matt. And you know what? Last thing I want to hit you with here, I love to ask all the dads that I get on the podcast, what type of advice do you have for the new dad or for that about to be father who's out there listening?
Honestly, I think it's really don't panic. It's you're not going to be prepared for it, but do the best you can, and remember what you were taught as a kid and what you learned through your lifetime, and make sure you understand the values that you want to put forth and how you want to raise your kid, and have that dialogue with your significant other, and move forward with a plan, and just be prepared to change it as it comes, because it's going to change. The kids are going to change your life, and no matter how many books you read or whatever, wherever you get your knowledge from, it's not always going to be that way. Everything's different. Every kid's different, and they all have their own different needs. So as long as you're there for them and you put them first, and and make them the focus, and I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, very well said. I love the message. This has been a big honor for me. I got to say, Matt Williams, you're a first-class father all the way, and thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time here on First Class Fatherhood.
Absolutely, Alec. I appreciate it. Again, it's an honor to be here. The people you've had on are all amazing folks. Several of them I've looked up to in my own life, so it's a pleasure and honor to actually be on here with you.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.